Yeah.
a lot of people who have spoken about this. We have a treat. We have a treat tonight for Paul, and it's going to make me cry. I need to frame this out. Chris, I'm going to come back to you after this little interlude of awesome. That when I first started teaching, I had a note from the college that said that we have a student that's coming in, and, you just need to be a little nicer to them. And, they need a little bit more time to write exams. And I was like, cool. And so I Googled him, I read his story, and then I met him. And the day I met Paul, and I can't pronounce this, VanderGriendt, the day I met him changed my life, because I'm better. I'm a better teacher. I teach communication. And I had to figure out how to teach communication. How do you teach body language to a guy who moves his chair with his head? And Paul rolls into my frickin' classroom and damn chirpy. The guy chirps me instantly, like makes me fall over laughing. And the reality, like we've talked about, he doesn't, you don't see the chair. You see the person. And oh my God, he's changed my life. He's raised the bar for me. He makes me so proud. I love this guy so much. I wanted to do something special for him. And this is a team effort. Nothing comes in ones, you guys. So Wayne Perro and Jay Stenhouse, we have a little treat for you, Paul. We know you're a huge Blue Jays fan. Thank goodness you're not sitting in front of that Price jersey of yours for hockey. But you had a couple of bobbleheads, and we have a couple of people here. But we have a couple of people here that are going to say hello. Honestly, Paul, this is like game-changing for me, because I like doing this shit. It makes me happy, but you deserve it, because you never, ever have anything but positive. You never, ever, like every day is this bar-raising opportunity. But because I don't speak baseball, and I'm probably going to use the wrong vernacular, I'm going to ask Joshua Campbell and Eugenio Matos to introduce the talent that we have here. And I'm so happy that people lean in to do this. This is what the sport community does, man. They help other people. They help other people see the light. Joshua, do you want to take the mic?
I'm actually going to let Eugenio start this one off.
Great. Eugenio,
Perfect.
talk to me. Who's here? Who's here? Who's the guest?
Perfect. It is a big honor for me to be introducing today our guest speaker, Ricky Romero, the definition of a professional athlete who embodies completely the human spirit of never, ever giving up. He grew up in East LA. Ricky had a prominent athlete he looked up to, nonetheless, Oscar De La Hoya, a complete legend in boxing. Romero gathered that he would too have to be a fighter to get out of that environment he was in. He grew up in a neighborhood ridden with gangs, violence, and often death. But with those attributes came an entire culture of people who learned how to battle adversity. Everyone had to hustle to survive. Ricky cites his parents as heroes and source of motivation, and has many memories of his father encouraging words as a youth with dreams of playing baseball in the big stage. After getting a scholarship at Cal State Fullerton, Romero was drafted 6th overall by the Toronto Blue Jays, nonetheless. And not only a cold new culture, but an entire new country for him. He even stated once, where the hell is Toronto? But Toronto quickly became home to Ricky Romero, and he found his wife and achieved incredible heights as a professional baseball player. For 3 years, we had the honor to say he was our ace pitcher, earning all sorts of all-star honors. And, he was quoted once saying, "I'll never forget the 2011 sold-out opening day when the crowd was chanting his name." And I hope Ricky knows, from myself and everybody in this call, we will never forget that moment. We will never forget you. And those chants will resonate with us way louder than any criticism ever could. So
and there was criticism that Romero experienced at some pretty high levels, but baseball is a sport of total dedication, of hopeful health, combined with a small possibility of victory. As the vast majority of ball players have experienced, Ricky began to experience his body failing him to a certain extent. He couldn't push himself without causing more harm. And as the injuries piled up, his place as an MLB pitcher was diminishing, but he never quit. He kept making strides every single year to regain his former status. He busted his ass in the minors for 4 years after being an all-star. And in 2017, what I read up on was he even woke up to a voice recording machine saying, "I will pitch in the big leagues in 2018." Woke up to that every day.
Wow.
Now, conversely to his life mantra, he learned that working his ass off was no longer the answer. But then he began to ask himself other questions. And through that, he found peace and a beautiful realization. The successes and the struggles were the experiences that made him the man he is today. He's a proud father of 2, a husband, an ex-MLB All-Star, and once the hero for the city of Toronto and the country of Canada. And he's one of the hardest working, adversity-driven individuals that we have the pleasure of learning from today.
And we have, before we get Ricky, before we get you to speak, we also have somebody else here. Would you like quickly just to introduce? We'll go to Ricky.
Absolutely.
Joshua, just bring up the other talent that's here to support Paul. Can you please?
Absolutely. I am so excited to bring this up for Paul as well. Yeah, I'll make it.
And then we'll come to you, Ricky.
So we have a fellow catcher, which is super exciting for me. We have ex-Blue Jay J.P. Arencibia. J.P. Arencibia was a pro backstop in the MLB for the Jays. He burst onto the scene in 2010 against Tampa. I remember it. Buck Martinez was there, and I remember him saying, "The long-awaited debut of J.P. swinging a drive." And it was the first pitch J.P. Arencibia had, and he knocked it out of the park. In that game, he hit, in his debut, he hit 2 home runs. It was incredible. He ended up hitting about 80 home runs for the Blue Jays, and he was even named to Team USA in 2013 for the World Baseball Classic. He has a lot of experience in several different major league organizations, and JP has said, "Toronto and Canada will always hold the biggest part of my heart. I always felt at home there." Fun fact, he's also one of the most involved individuals in the sport of baseball. He's open, honest, and always available. I actually remember this, and I didn't even look it up because I didn't want to see, but I remembered J.P. Arencibia, and I'm hoping that he can confirm or deny this, but that he opened up a Reddit thread to questions about 2 years ago. And that's pretty dangerous. Reddit is where a lot of trolls are waiting for you. So, but that was the depth of connection that he sought with his audience. And I have Gino who's going to say a little bit more.
Hold on. Let's freeze. We'll come back to JP for a second, and we're going to go into Ricky. Ricky has the message for Paul. He wants to share some things. And before we come to you, Ricky, Curtis, you just need to show your family. This is so cute, man. You've got fans. The Blue Jays, retired Blue Jays players have fans. Curtis, just say something so that the camera comes on you, the speaker view comes on you.
I don't know what you want me to say. Luke's pretty pumped. This is my son Luke and my daughter Lena, and here's Laura standing. Camera's here. But we were pretty excited to hear about this little surprise. So Luke got all dressed up. He's wearing his Guerrero jersey. He's got his hat on. So
cute.
This is pretty cool to have some Jays on here. I've watched you guys. My brother and I grew up watching the Jays, so this is amazing.
Curtis is Paul's brother. I'm excited. We have Lauren. We have his mom on the line as well. Ricky Romero, and then we'll come to you, JP. But Ricky, thank you. Thank you so much for being you. The changing lives is a huge impact. Paul, meet Ricky Romero.
Paul, really nice to meet you. Thank you so much. What an intro. Holy smokes. That's probably the best intro I've ever had in anything I've ever done. But Paul, it's a pleasure to be here, to be part of this group. I didn't realize it was going to be this big. I'm actually a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. But, pretty awesome to be a part of it. And I think I speak for JP as well. One of the biggest things we set out to do before we even were big leaguers was any way we can change the world, any impact we can make on anyone around us, we'll do that. And I think we carried that into the big leagues at all times. We always knew you're under a different microscope. So whenever it came to kids and stuff and going to hospitals and doing visits and this kind of, I think we were the first ones always to sign up. I think we were always together. And, I was thinking about this just listening to you guys talk, and it's pretty fitting that it's Roy Halladay's birthday today. I mean, one of the greatest quotes he ever told me was, "You don't regret failure, you regret effort." And it stuck with me because it's one of the things, you know, in baseball, you have to know that it's a game of failure. And when you think about it in life too, you know, and it's a quote that sticks with me at all times. And, you know, yeah, that's all I got right now.
Let me ask you a question, Ricky. I like that you brought up Doc. I worked very closely with Doc and Brandy, and Jay Stenhouse is also on the line. I know you know Jay Stenhouse, and that was just respectful. I like that a lot. Thank you for doing that. Let me come back to you for a second. You fought out of a situation in East LA, and I don't think I've ever been there, but the reality is that every day you had to be mentally tough. And it was about getting up and inspiring yourself forward. You know, we talk about how do great performers become great performers? Well, it's not because anybody else did it for them. It has to come from that inner drive. And, you know, talk a little bit about that journey of reinvention. Share that story with Paul and everybody else.
Well, I think the biggest thing is my dad to this day works, and he's never stopped working. And I think him and my mom, they both work. And I've tried to retire them a million times and they say no. So, you know, the work ethic comes from them. And at an early age, I was just motivated. And as young kids, we grow up with the dream to play in the big leagues one day. And is it possible for everyone? You know, I mean, the odds are against you. I mean, there's a small percentage that gets to that level. So, I mean, I just, you know, dream. I grew up, you know, in Los Angeles, so grew up a big Dodgers fan. I was at Dodger Stadium all the time. And I just, you know, I always pictured myself like, what would it be like to be on that mound? And, you know, as time goes on, you know, the work ethic got better and better and better. And I saw that dream getting closer and closer and closer. You go to I ended up at Cal State Fullerton, and, you know, you meet some challenges there. Being in East LA from a Mexican culture, that's pretty much all you see. Now you go to Orange County and it's a completely different world. And you know you're gonna trip and fall there, and you have to get back up. And it happened plenty of times. And, you know, but the biggest thing is I kept my head up and, you know, got drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays. And as they said in the intro, I mean, I did not know where Toronto was. And I was like, the furthest team away from East LA and from the LA area takes me. But, you know, looking back at it, it's probably one of the greatest things to ever happen to me. And you know, Toronto is always going to have a special place in my heart for that reason. And as they said, you know, my wife is from there. You know, any chance I get to go back, I do it, you know, whether it's, you know, something for charity or whatever it is. JP and I are usually out there. So, you know, I mean, it's just the journey. You just know, like I said, you just know you're going to trip and fall sometimes, but it's how you get back up. And you know, I think, like I said, I have a lot of cool stories about Doc and different quotes he shared with me, and that was one of them. You know, just he always said, you know, I like to see watch me trip and watch me how I get back up. You know, that's when you show your true character. And you know, and obviously Toronto, I mean, it started off good, and then my career didn't end the way I wanted it to. But at the end of the day, I'm thankful and I'm grateful for just stepping and living out my dream and pitching on a big league mound.
Love the story. Paul, are you happy? Are you surprised? Do you have a question for Ricky? And then we're going to come to JP.
Holy shit. I'm not sure I really know what to say. I mean, I never got to see you guys live, Ricky and JP, but I watched you on TV all the time. I'm just kind of lost for words. I thought I had this whole preamble. I thought I was going to be talking to Orlando and Chris, which is, I guess, nerve-wracking enough. And now this has just completely thrown me off. I don't know what to say.
I don't think I've ever heard you as a loss for a word. Ricky, you're a beautiful soul, and I cannot share my appreciation enough. To take the time to lean in, look at your face, the warmth, your energy. The fact that you actually said you were nervous is so cute. Like, it's just so wonderful. I'm so honored and I'm so happy because that's what you do. You have the chance to change lives, and that's what you've done. You've changed lives. Let's go back to Joshua. Do you want to continue to introduce JP and again talk about how weird catchers are, or what?
You know, I don't like this sentiment that catchers are weird, Nancy. Okay, I'm on board with the catchers here. Yeah, so J.P. Arencibia, he retired from professional baseball in 2017 with a post that said, "I could never really take a walk in my career, but this walk is my biggest yet." You know, it's this level of lightheartedness and humility that made JP one of the most positive figures to come from the baseball community. Known for his consistent emphasis on interacting with fans, taking no shortcuts. I found words like kindest pro athlete. It was a commonplace when talking about him anywhere, any research you do online. JP always looked towards the future. Even when he retired, he cited his learns as his experience in professional baseball as building blocks to the next steps of his life. Now he's an analyst for the Miami Marlins, and he still remains ultra involved in Toronto's baseball culture, and he loves to give back. Scroll through his Twitter feed if you don't believe me, or tune into some Blue Jays virtual activations, because you're definitely bound to see him there. But better yet, listen out, because we've got him in the building, and he's a true professional, and he's waiting to tell his story. So
he's in the house. JP, we're so excited to see you. I heard you were in the bush. Did you come out of the bush for this, or what?
No. I'm still in the woods. Actually, I've been in and out of connection, and I got to obviously see Paul and hear the beginning of the story, and I'm with Ricky as well. And first off, thank you for having me, Paul. Nice meeting you, and it's phenomenal to hear your story. And whenever they asked me if I would be able to do this, although my internet here is not the best, I was 100% going to make sure that I was able to meet you and have the conversation and just say some things, because again, I'm in and out. But the one thing is what I've learned is we all have scars, and it might be either physical, it might be either mental, it might be either emotional, but we all have scars. And the beautiful thing as a person who I've had anxiety attacks, panic attacks, I dealt with different things, is that the sun always rises in the morning. Every day there's new hope. Every day there's a purpose. And I think that's one of the beautiful things that we get to do is, as a professional athlete, I'm around people that make a lot of money and they're miserable. And there's people that struggle in different areas. And since I've walked away from the game, the biggest thing that I've taken is, what is my purpose in life and how can I make this world better? And the special thing is people that have had the mic and been able to talk, that's what's special to me, because you guys are making the world better by the way you approach it. Because we can always fall back on, why me, why this have to happen? But the one thing that we have control is in our mindset every single day. And to have that mindset and bring that mindset every single day. And so for me, that's, how can I help the next person? How can I improve somebody's life? How can I ask somebody on the street that I see, how are they doing? How can I be a person that brings light to this world and is able to, if I impact one person, that may be enough to impact multiple people just by that one person. So constantly striving. So when I see stories, Paul, like yours, and the others have been able to speak, that to me is the amazing thing, because again, we all get knocked down. We all again, you may not see them, but you might see me as me, but I've had tremendous, mental scars. But every day I wake up with a new opportunity to be able to change the world in a positive way. However it may be, it might be a smile. It doesn't have to be something crazy. And that's the amazing thing about having that control of the one thing, and that's our mindset and our attitude. So, Paul, you're a rock star. I appreciate you having me on here, and even anybody who thought about us to come on here, because it's special to me. And again, my thing is just keep on pushing, control that attitude, and just try to change the world. And you guys are doing that by the way you're approaching this.
Okay, JP, honestly, that I don't know you. I'm so honored to know you now. The messages that you've just shared, you, Ricky, Orlando, Chris, we're going to hear from Matt. We're going to hear from Jay Stenhouse. Here is one opportunity, though. I want to introduce somebody else. Paul, you are now off the stage, and you're gonna relish this energy that you're feeling. There is another smaller gentleman today. He's younger. I think he's 15 years old, Joshua. Milind Kumar. I want to introduce Milind Kumar. And this one's going to make me bawl even more, Paul. He was a superstar. He was an athlete in baseball. Jonathan and Ricky and Orlando and Chris, Matt and Jay and everybody else on the call, that this is why we are here in this world, to help the next generation, inspire the next generation. Milind Kumar is a kid that is fighting for his life. He is fighting cancer. He's got leukemia. And this is a bit of a gift for him as well. Milind, is your voice, is your mic off?
Hello?
Hello, Milind. I
Hi.
hear you've had some challenges in your career to get to your future you. You've had a couple of chemo treatments. You're going through some acute leukemia that has kind of challenged you a little bit. I know how tough chemo can be. It makes you absolutely crushingly sad and dark sometimes. I understand you've had some people ask you about chemo and how do you get through it. I'm excited to meet you.
Yes, it's nice to meet you too.
Little bit,
I'll say just a little bit about me was that last August, it was just like any normal summer for me as an athlete and a kid, just hanging out, playing sports, and that all of a sudden your life just kind of stops once you're at a hospital and you get this diagnosis of a term that's really very foreign to kids my age, as it's not as commonly found in younger kids more so than adults. So it did feel at times like, oh, I was missing out on all these things that other teenagers were going through, not able to go to school or anything like that, and seeing other kids having summer parties and things like that while I'm in a hospital bed or rolling around in a wheelchair around the house. But like the other speakers that were here today, you try to take the positive out of a negative situation by going with every day as a day of new hope and a sort of a fresh start almost, and finding that purpose in this difficult situation to be able to almost make yourself so much more resilient and able to face the toughest battles that life has to offer, and also being able to help other people that have to go through these types of difficult situations.
Well, Milind, my God, you stole the show. Orlando, Ricky, JP, Chris, Jay, Matt, everybody move off the stage. Here comes Milind, man. He's going to change this world. I'm so proud of you. Is there a question that you have for anybody? I know you're a big baseball guy, so is there a question that you wanted to ask, or did you just want to share thanks?
I think it was just great to be able to hear a lot of these inspiring stories. Just knowing that for me personally, that I'm not alone in people that have to deal with sort of difficult situations, that there are so many people that have to deal with a lot of big changes to their lives, and just being able to sort of in this generation connect with all you different people has just been really amazing and inspiring.
I'm so proud of you. You're so articulate. I'm impressed. I'm honored that you joined us, and I'm glad that you shared your story. And what I found in my journey, and I'm sure JP and Ricky, everybody, Chris, Paul, Orlando, Matt, Jay, starting to share your story is that cathartic part. And we've seen that in Paul, we've had a couple of these before this, Milind, and Paul started to share and talk more about his story, and it becomes cathartic, Paul. I'm sure you agree with me. It becomes cathartic, and it's like this soul-saving conversation when you share that I'm not okay today, that I'm dark and I don't know how to get to the light. And And the struggles are real.
For sure.
Milind, I'm honored. Thanks for joining us, man. I'm going to cut you off now. I'm going to say goodbye to Ricky and JP. I know JP wants to get back to doing stuff in his remote cabin there. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate both of you being here. Thank you so much. Really honored.
Thank you. Thank you so much for letting us be a part of this. This is awesome.
So kind, so articulate, so warm. This is what human looks like in leadership roles. Be there when you all get to the leadership roles, each one of you. My expectation, you have the talent to get the leadership roles. Be like these people that stand before you. I'm so excited.